Manchester United 2, Leeds United 2. 2 points dropped at Old Trafford this evening. A game that we came back from 2-0 down, but a game that we were always chasing at Old Trafford. A game that was meant to be an easy rollover victory, but it just goes to show that in these big games, these rivalry games, any Premier League game is not straightforward. We do not have that 14th successive victory at Old Trafford. We're still unbeaten in a long period of time at home, but nevertheless, it's a disappointing result. There's positives to take out of it, of course. The fact that we did go 2-0 down and we did show the character to fight back and not lose the game, and arguably we could have and maybe should have won that game had we been a bit more clinical, shown a bit more quality and taken our chances. But the real key thing as to why Manchester United didn't win this game today was because we started really slow, and it's been coming. It's been coming, these slow starts, because I think back to some of the more recent games. I think back to Reading at home. I think back to Nottingham Forest at home, and maybe against, I don't want to say lesser opposition, but teams that weren't really showing the energy and the fight that Leeds United showed tonight, and I think that's a credit to them. They showed a grit, a real aggression, a real tenacity that, to be fair, they were showing under Jesse Marsch. That was one of Jesse Marsch's real traits, was how aggressive that Leeds United side were. And they go 1-0 up within a minute, 56 seconds to be exact. Bruno gives the ball away, a 1-2 with Bamford. It goes out to Gnonto, not too much, it's really quick, and maybe he has too much space, maybe we don't get out to him quick enough. Martinez, Varane don't get out to him quick enough, and then he scores. And then for that first 10 minutes, I was waiting to see a reaction from Manchester United, and it was a reaction that didn't come for a while, honestly. It really didn't. For the first 10-15 minutes, it could have been 2. They had a header that was saved by David De Gea, and it was too easy. It really was too easy. And every time they pressed us, every time we got our foot on the ball, they pressed us, and we weren't quick enough on it, and we were sloppy on it. We gave the ball away, and they just had more fight. And I'm not saying one man makes a team, because I don't think they do, but certainly one man does add to a team. And we did miss Casemiro this evening, because I'm not sure necessarily we missed his aggressiveness. Of course, it would have helped in that midfield, particularly in those first 10 to 15 minutes. But what we really missed was just, again, that reassuredness, that composure, that calmness, that extra bit of quality, because the defence was so exposed in the first half, particularly, again, those sort of opening 15, 20 minutes, that I haven't seen the back four be that exposed in terms of every time the opposition's midfield just ran straight through ours. Fred and Sabitzer couldn't handle that. And for the first 10, 15 minutes, I thought Leeds are 1-0 up, and deservedly so. Again, it could have been 2. Garnacho, first half, has some opportunities that you would maybe expect a bit more from him. I know he's young, but there was an earlier chance where Bruno gets the ball into the box. He's a little bit behind Garnacho, but he still should have tested the keeper. He didn't. The other one, which may be the bigger one, rounds the goalkeeper. It's cleared off the line. Again, you would maybe say a bit more composure, a bit more experience. He takes an extra touch, travels 5 yards, slots it in the bottom of the net, doesn't try to smash it and give the opportunity for the defender. Sabitzer had a good shot. There was a save by Melia, and again, tipped over the bar. But then also as well, Leeds were having their chances. Lisandro Martinez, a couple of times in the game, particularly one in the first half, a last-ditch block. There were a couple of appeals for penalties that I didn't think they were. But again, even those penalty calls came from sloppy passes. Diogo Dalot gave the ball away, I think. Upon reflection, had Aaron Wan-Bissaka not been ill, that's why he wasn't in the squad this evening, he was ill, I think there's a chance Wan-Bissaka would have started, honestly, because Diogo Dalot did look like, at times, certainly a guy that hasn't played for a couple of weeks and was coming back from a hamstring injury and was worried that something bad could happen again. He looked rusty. He looked slow. That will come back, but when your other right back gets ill, you kind of have to put him in at the deep end, and he did look like a player that was a bit rusty, again, particularly in that first half. He had sloppy passes, and it did feel like, and I just spoke to Kenny on the fan view, be sure to check it out, some really interesting points, but he mentioned that it just felt like, even going into half-time, but again, upon reflection, that Rashford, he's needed on the left, and Alejandro Garnacho is a young guy. He's just about to get a new contract, but you can see why maybe Erik ten Hag is somewhat resistant to start him every single game in certain types of games, because Marcus Rashford's the in-form guy, and even so, he still manages to get on the score sheet this evening. We'll touch on that in just a second, but Marcus Rashford is the form guy, and he's in form on the left-hand side rather, and through the middle. Tonight he started on the right, and in that first half he just couldn't get in the game as much as you would want, and he's just so dangerous. He's just so in form on the left-hand right-hand side. And maybe for this season, it is something where it's a Garnacho. Yeah, you're going to start certain games at home, but maybe not a game like a rivalry game, a game against a side as aggressive and tenacious as Leeds. And his best role for now, as he continues to develop, is to come on as an impact player, 25 minutes, run at defenders, get Old Trafford on their feet, bring some energy, bring some tempo to the game. And it was screaming out, I felt, for Rashford on that left-hand side. Now, half-time comes, and once again, first few minutes of the second half, the same thing happened. Slow start. Garnacho this time gave the ball away, and it's an unfortunate own goal from Rafael Varane. But 3 minutes into the second half, we start slow and we're 2-0 down. And it just felt like, again, same again. Slow start, not composed, sloppiness. Leeds deserved their 2-0 when they were 2-0 up, but their goals were making as well. They came from sloppiness from United, giving the ball away, not protecting the ball. When you're being pressed, again, know that you're going to be pressed. Be proactive. That was something that Erik ten Hag said in his press conference on Tuesday. He said that they might shape up a little bit differently. And if they do, the team has to be proactive enough and be smart enough, not naive, to shift the way they're going to play, shift their individual playing styles to make sure they get the better of their opponent. And we didn't do that. We didn't show the composure or the proactiveness to shift our style. It took us a while to get going in both halves. And we find ourselves 2-0 down. Now we get our first goal back from Marcus Rashford, who by that point had been shifting through the middle. Wout Weghorst came off. Jadon Sancho came on. Facundo Pellistri also came on as well. And to be fair, it helped a lot. It helped a lot, those changes. You had Jadon Sancho on the left. You had Facundo on the right-hand side. And it added this element of balance maybe that we didn't have. It added this link-up play between the inverted wingers and the fullbacks. In the first half, we didn't see Luke Shaw really linking up with Garnacho. We didn't see Dalot linking up with Marcus Rashford as much, And I go back to Dalot, you can see, I think, why Malacia came on instead of Dalot, because he wasn't ready. But when he made those changes, Ten Hag, and you had Rashford through the middle, which is more comfortable than playing on the right-hand side, I think. You had better link-up play from the flanks, and that allowed to get crosses in the box. That allowed Marcus Rashford to put in a good header, and we suddenly looked a bit more threatening, and we started to put passes together, and we looked more dangerous. Not to say that Leeds still weren't dangerous, because they were also hit the post from a free kick. I think it was Aronson who hit the foot of the post. But Jadon Sancho, he comes on and he gets his goal and he levels it for Manchester United. And he started to look a bit more sharp. I mean, Ten Hag did say before the game that Sancho likely would have started had he not been ill over the weekend. In addition to Wan-Bissaka being ill, apparently Jadon Sancho was also ill, which meant he came on from the bench. And maybe if Sancho had started this game, it would have been a bit different, because maybe Sancho would have started on the right-hand side and Rashford would have been on the left. Not to say that it was all down to Alejandro Garnacho, because that's not fair, but he did look a lot sharper as a 10-15 minute cameo goes. He looked very, very good, Jadon Sancho. He was even taking players on. He looked dangerous. He laid the ball off for Fred at one point, who maybe should have done better with his chance. I thought Fred looked quite poor this evening, gave the ball away again, sloppiness through the midfield. We even had a chance to make it 3-2. Rafael Varane with a good header, another good save by Meslier in goal. But upon reflection, did Manchester United do enough to win that game? Maybe, you would say maybe, given some of the opportunities, again, the Garnacho opportunities in the first half, around with the header, a couple of cutbacks to Fred second half, but that you'd have felt that maybe Leeds would have been a bit hard done by. And United tonight, the reason they dropped 2 points is because of themselves, is because they weren't up to snuff in the early stages of either half, and that ultimately has cost us. And going to Ellen Road at the weekend, you're going to have to be up for it from minute one, and you have to be on your toes from minute one, because now that Leeds United fan base believes, I tell you what, if we can get a draw at Old Trafford, we can get a win at home. And United have got to be on it, and they've got to show more. And, Casemiro, big miss. Midfield was somewhat non-existent this evening, and that hurt us. But at the same time, we still did enough, and we still need to be more clinical, and we still need to take those chances and just up the quality level. So, again, I look at everything as a learning curve under Erik ten Hag this season. Every time there is a slip-up, and there are going to be slip-ups. It's disappointing this evening. I think there are positives in the sense that we came back, we showed character, but for me, it is 2 points dropped, and we've got to correct that. We've got to make it right at the weekend at Ellen Road, and here's hoping we do it. Be sure to smash a like on the like button, guys. Be sure to subscribe, bottom right-hand corner, and on to Ellen Road at the weekend.